Hi, in this video we are going to learn radian measure. So basically on a circle, when we draw an angle where the arc length, this length from this point to this point, is the same as the length of the radius, we get this angle measure to be 1 radian. Right? So when it comes to the full circumference, right, which is 2 times pi times r, just because we have the length being r, 2 pi becomes the radian measure of a full turn. So basically from here we end up saying that 2 pi radians is equal to 360 degrees. That's our equation. So on a unit circle, the full turn is 2 pi radians, where half turn would be half of 2 pi, which would be pi radians. I'm talking about this angle, right? And then when it comes to 1/4 of full turn, it's going to be pi over 2. So 90 degrees is pi over 2 radians, and a 30 degree angle would be pi over 6, a 60 degree angle would be pi over 3, and so on. So if we make a table out of it, we'll have 30 degrees being pi over 6. Well, consider this: one straight angle, which is 180 degrees, is pi. So if you divide it by 6, you get 30 degrees. And for 45 degrees, that's going to be 1/4 of a pi. So it's going to be pi over 4. And we'll have 60 degrees to be pi over 3. And of course, 90 degrees, as we said before, is pi over 2. And 180 degrees is pi. So this is pi, and of course we cannot miss 370 degrees, which is 3/4 of the full turn. So 270 degrees, that is 3 pi over 2, because it is 3 times 90 degrees. So it's 3 times pi over 2, which is 3 pi over 2. And the full turn, as we said before, is 2 pi. Now these angles are very important. It's best if you learn them, because it will take time for you to convert from one measure to another. So it's best if you know them. Your key could be that 180 degrees is pi. So if you consider 1/6 of 180, which is 30 degrees, you can find the radian measure. There is no such question of converting from one measure to another in P1. However, you should be flexible. You should be able to do these conversions. But generally speaking, if a trick question is on radian measure, then it's always on radian measure, right? It doesn't involve conversion to degrees, or if a question starts in degrees, it does not involve a conversion to radians. Still, conversion is important, because if you have an angle like 5 pi over 12, you should be able to figure out whether this is an acute angle or an obtuse angle or something else. So to be able to convert from radians to degrees, basically you're going to do this. 5 over 12 is your fraction. We know that pi is 180 degrees, so we will multiply the fraction by 180, getting 75 degrees. So this is an acute angle, right? When you're converting from degrees to radians, let's say we have 130 degrees. Well, make a comparison with 180 degrees at all times. So this will basically give you 13 over 18 in the simplest form. So we're talking about 13 over 18 pi radians, right? Or if you'd like, you could go like 120 degrees. So just divide by 180, you'll have 2/3 of a pi, right? So this is the radian measure. When it comes to using your calculator, it is extremely important that you change your setup from degrees to radians if you're working with radians. So my suggestion is, when you're reading a question, if you see radians or rad, or if you see an angle given in terms of pi, stop reading, stop what you're doing, just press Shift and then mode, and you're going to get a table from 1 to 8, of which 3 you'll see that it's going to be degrees and 4 is radians. Now, my suggestion is do this regardless whatever writes in here, alright? Because sometimes we think that we're working in radians, we worked in radians before in our calculator, so the next question we're working with, well, there is no need to press shift and mode to just change it to radians again. But my suggestion is, whenever you read a question involving radians or pi or whatever, please do this every single time, just to make sure that your calculator is set up to the radian measure. Because, I mean, you may make a lot of mistakes if it is not correctly set up. Now is your turn. Please solve these questions on your book and submit your answers online. Thanks for watching.